many stone ages ago, people had no idea where babies came from. They actually believed that spirits of children resided in certain fruits and pregnancy could happen by eating those particular fruits. Others withheld notions like stars, rain, water, sun god could help them having babies. While an influential bishop, Augustine, was advocating celibacy all across the world, in India, Vatsyayana was writing the biggest epic of sexual play called Kama Sutra. Now, even if we look at Kama Shastra, erotic practice is defined as one of the three aims of ancient Hindus. Now, contraceptives were used throughout human history, but the methods were not as safe and effective as they are today. Centuries ago, women even used lead and mercury. In fact, drank lead and mercury, which led to sterility and death instead of stopping fertility. In ancient China and India, men were encouraged to go for coitus reservatus because ejaculation was thought of loss of masculinity. Additionally, there were other prevalent myths like sexual intercourse during menstruation is the safest. Now let's look at the first kind of contraceptives that were used in ancient India. Women actually used rock salt soaked in oil as a measure of birth control. Other things that were used for the same purpose included honey, ghee, and even elephant dung. Now during this time, hormonal method included eating a papaya a day to prevent pregnancy. In 19th century, scientists actually found out that papaya contains a papain enzyme which is effective in avoiding pregnancy. So realistically, for thousands of years, people used abstinence, mutual pleasure without intercourse, withdrawal, and predicting fertility as natural methods of contraception.
Despite the evident practical use of contraception in both birth control and STD prevention, several people reject its use on religious grounds. The Catholic Church, for instance, prohibits the use of contraception on the grounds that it promotes promiscuity, and secondly, that it prevents conception, which inherently is sacred. In most cases, however, religions do not have a universal mandate when it comes to the use of contraception. Protestants, for example, have certain churches which allow the use of contraception, while others which prohibit it. Other religions take different stands on contraception. Early Muslims have been known to follow the withdrawal method under the tacit approval of Prophet Muhammad. Some jurists have inferred from that other non-permanent methods of contraception are also permissible. The Quran by itself does not make any explicit statements on the morality of contraception. However, it does promote procreation. For Sikhs, there is religious intervention only to the extent of promoting sexual morality, which is represented by the Kacha, but there is no prohibition when it comes to contraception as such. In Hinduism, certain epics promote family planning. The Mahabharata, for instance, does so by giving the Pandavas the status of an ideal family. However, most believe that contraception is a woman's personal matter and is outside the purview of religious intervention. Studies have shown that religious reasons are used as reasons to avoid contraception less often than are method-related problems, baseless as they may be at times. For instance, vasectomy is avoided because it's known to be associated with a loss of masculinity, and pubectomy is avoided because it is associated with loss of vigor.
In 1970s, under Indira Gandhi's emergency, population stabilization through sterilization was given a major focus. People were given incentives of land and cash in order to get vasectomies and tubectomies. Furthermore, government workers were given quotas of sterilization to fill. It is often reported that people were hauled up from the roads and forcibly sterilized. Clearly, this created discontent, and in the next election in 1977, the government was voted out. After that, no government wanted to touch population stabilization with such a major emphasis, and the government reverted to softer approaches of voluntary family planning. In 1994, at the International Conference on Population and Development, India promised to have a target-free approach to family planning. Though the central government could not set targets, state and district levels were still free to do so. By 1997, the fertility rate per woman had fallen from 6 to 3.3. Most recently, in 2012, at a London conference, the Indian government announced that there would be a paradigm shift in its approach to family planning and it would make contraceptives available door to door. A problem is that traditionally, male sterilization has a very negative connotation attached to it. The Madhya Pradesh government came up with a very innovative scheme to counter this. Knowing that men were afraid to lose their masculinity, they decided to offer an even bigger symbol of masculinity, in their opinion that is, to counter this. The Madhya Pradesh government actually decided to fast track the gun licenses of people who agreed to have vasectomies. Female sterilization, however, still vastly outnumbers male sterilization. Out of the 54% of people who agree to using contraceptives, about 34% is accounted on basis of female sterilization and only 1% by male sterilization. This is a disturbing figure. What's even more worrying, however, is the fact that poor illiterate women often do not get pre-surgery health screenings, are not informed about their rights, are not given advice about the complications of surgery. Over half of the women who have these surgeries face one or the other side effect. That's quite worrying. Furthermore, there have been reports of mass sterilizations in completely unhygienic conditions which have actually led to major deaths.
In early 1990s, when the first case of HIV was diagnosed in India, the role of contraceptives changed completely. Initially, it was used as a birth control measure, but ever since HIV came into being, it was used to safeguard the health of people. In early 1990s, condoms and other contraceptives were still considered as a taboo. No person used to go to a medical shop and ask for it. In early 2000, the taboo associated with condoms diminished thanks to a lot of promotional campaign conducted by government. A lot of private companies came into the condom market because of the ever-growing demand. Condom marketing campaigns such as Bindas Bol was a hit with the audience and it fostered a lot of people to use it. Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation played a pivotal role in AIDS control in India. They influxed a lot of money in the cause of AIDS control and proliferated the use of condoms across the specific segments such as truck drivers and prostitutes. Several NGOs have helped them to distribute free condoms across the red light areas in the metropolis of India, whereas they have established several truckers' interventions to specifically check the spread of AIDS amongst truck drivers and to give them sexual counseling. A lot of focus right now has been given on the female condoms and its use and to create awareness about it.
Now, obviously, the best method of contraception is one that does not require too many medical visits, that actually lasts for long, is comfortable to use, and has a very less percentage of failure rate. Broadly, we can categorize these contraceptive methods under 7 headings. The first one would be hormonal-based contraceptive methods. Under this, one could use vaginal rings. You could also use patches. These patches are stuck on your abdomen and they release hormones in a span of about 2 to 3 weeks slowly into your system. You could also use injectables or rods that are inserted on your arm, and these could last in your body for about 2 to 3 years. The second type of contraceptive methods used are the barrier methods. Now, these have condoms, cervical caps, spermicides and diaphragms, and these are known to have about 80% of effectiveness. The third type is the permanent birth control methods, and these are obviously the most used method around the world, and they include vasectomy and tubectomy. The fourth kind of contraception used is the behavioral kind. Under this comes the oldest known contraception to man, which is coitus interruptus, and also regulating the timing of your periods through the month. The fifth type of contraception method used is the intrauterine devices, or the IUDs. Copper T falls under this category. The sixth type of contraception method is the emergency contraception method. Now, this is fairly recent, and there has been an increase in use of the morning after pills in cases of emergencies. IUDs are also known to be an emergency method. It is said that you could use an IUD up to 5 days after having unprotected intercourse, and it would prevent any pregnancy. The last kind of method used is the dual protection, and this too is fairly recent, where you use one or two methods out of all the rest to prevent pregnancy and the spread of STDs. As we can see, our choices have greatly increased over the years. We have a lot more variety in what we can use. There's a lot more awareness, and we can use these options more sensibly.